Okay, showdown. Fake $15 Louis Vuitton that I bought in New York on the street in Times Square, or one of my own card holders that I make by hand using veg-tan leather. Let's talk about it. First off, my name is Nick. I run Coastline Leather Goods. It's a one-man operation that I run right here in my garage, where I make leather goods like wallets, passport holders, bags, guitar straps, belts, and all that kind of fun stuff. But today I want to take a deep dive into the difference between one of these and one of these. So first off, how do I know if this is real or fake? I guess the truth is I don't. I'm going to assume that because I bought this from a guy selling goods on a blanket on the sidewalk for $15, I'm going to assume it's fake. I do know that the inside is supposed to be stamped with a Louis Vuitton stamp. This one is not. It does have a serial number stamped on the inside here, but I just don't think it's real. Although it did come with this nice little card of authenticity. So let's talk about what this thing is made out of. I don't think this is leather, and there's a few reasons why I think that. One, does not smell like leather. This has a strong leather smell. This is very chemically more like plastic. It actually feels almost like a hard rubber, like the kind of rubber from like a rubber mallet or something like that. If I had to guess, this is either some sort of plastic or hard rubber composite. It's very thin. If you're using leather measurements, this is probably like a 1.5 ounce, maybe a 2 ounce. It's pebbled. It's not bad looking. It doesn't feel bad, but I really don't think that it's leather. I wouldn't call it leather. It's definitely not perfectly rectangular, and some of the cuts kind of veer off like that. It's a sloppy cut. It's a sloppy cut piece. So that's kind of one of my first indicators that it's not real. The stitching on this is a very, very thin thread that I doubt would last very long. And finally, there's edge coat on here. I'm not a huge fan of edge coat to begin with, because it peels after time and just looks really gross, and it's also kind of a plasticky substance that I don't really like. But this was put on pretty sloppily and pretty hastily. All in all, is this worth $15? Probably, but there's other like moral questions that are involved when you buy something like this. There's ethical concerns. I don't know where this was made or who made it. A quick Google search and a conversation with ChatGPT. Sweatshops are very likely. There's sweatshops all over the world, and the conditions that workers who are making these potentially endure are probably not great. That's one of the benefits to something like this, is you know where it was made and who made it. I mean, it's not hard to counterfeit this stuff. All you need is a printer to print a design that you can find on Google onto a material, and teach somebody how to use a sewing machine and a knife, and boom, there you go. One thing I will mention, this is machine stitched, obviously. This is machine stitched. The thing about machine stitching is once one of these threads break, because machine stitching relies on the stitch for its strength rather than the leather for its strength, once a fray happens, the whole thing kind of comes undone. Have you ever had that happen to like a shirt or something, where once the thread kind of comes loose, the whole thing just sort of unravels? This is no different. I have a feeling after about a month of regular use, this thing would completely fall apart. I'm guessing the edge coating is going to start peeling off. The threads are going to start... I haven't even actually used this, and the thread is already starting to kind of come undone a little bit. I don't know how they finished their stitch. I don't even think they burned this. I think they just left it. So this thing is just ripe for unraveling. So let's compare that to one of mine. I do know what the material of this is. This is a American-made veg-tan leather. I use Italian veg-tan leather for almost all of my designs. This one just happens to be a domestic veg-tan leather called Solstice from a company called Weaver. This is like, this thing right here specifically is just bulletproof. This will last 100 years. This will last a month. This will last 100 years and will only get better over time as it kind of molds to your pocket. The leather softens up, it'll darken a little bit. The cutting on this is hand done, and I make my own templates, I design my own designs, and the cutting on these is as precise as I can. I really do painstakingly cut these to make them as precise as possible. Now, they are made by hand. They're not dyed, they're not stamped, they're not laser cut, so they're not perfect. They're human done, but I'm really proud of how precise I can get these. The edge, there's no edge coat on these. It's all burnished, hand burnished, which means I put an agent on here called Toconol, which is kind of like a wax, and I smooth it and I burnish it, and it's nice and shiny at the end. And the longer you use it, the shinier it gets. Nothing will ever peel in terms of edge coat on this, okay? And lastly, the stitching. Let me just show these side by side real quick. You can see right off the bat, the stitching on this is incredibly robust. I punched these holes myself by hand with one of these, and I use a .06 Rita Tiger thread. It's a very durable thread, and I use a saddle stitch, which is a different type of stitch than the machine stitch. Meaning, if one of these unravels, you can just take a lighter to it and it will not compromise the rest of the stitches. Going back to the materials real quick, veg-tan leather is a very environmentally friendly way to tan leather. It uses natural tannins, tree barks, and vegetables. It takes longer, it's a premium leather, but it's a price that I'm definitely willing to take because it's a higher quality product and it doesn't put a bunch of really harsh chemicals in the environment, like plastic and chrome tan leather. I'm not villainizing chrome tan leather. I just like the environmental practices and impact or lack of impact of a veg tan leather a whole lot better. All in all, I think that you could buy 20 or 30 of these to last the same amount of time as one of these. This will degrade and get worse over time. This will improve over time. The leather will soften, it will mold to your pocket. The leather will increase in its shine, its sheen, so will the edges. It'll darken a little bit as oxygen gets to it. It'll just end up looking weathered and unique and cool. That's the beauty of veg tan leather. So to anybody watching this, I would highly encourage you to do a little homework about where your stuff comes from. If you know where it was made, how it was made, and who made it, that's a much better outcome than having some mystery product with a fancy label on it that could have been made in a sweatshop. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the support. If you can't buy a wallet from me, another way that you can support is just to like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. It's a long-term goal, but every like and every subscribe helps, and I very much appreciate it. See you on the next one.